We're gathering information about a small plane crash on the Garden Isle. But first,
I look forward to hearing from you.
Confirmation hearings are underway for Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson.
She's the president's pick to be the next Supreme Court justice. Chris Wynn has the latest live from D.C.
And earlier today, the judge wrapped up the first of 4 days of public hearings here on Capitol Hill. The senators hearing directly from the judge herself as she seeks to become the first black woman to sit on the Supreme Court. Ketanji Brown Jackson in the hot seat for the first day of confirmation hearings before the Senate Judiciary Committee.
Do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give before the committee will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
If confirmed, she'll become the first black woman to serve on our nation's highest court.
You are a living witness to the fact that in America, all is possible.
Monday, offering a chance for President Joe Biden's Supreme Court pick to introduce herself to the panel.
If I am confirmed, I commit to you that I will work productively to support and defend the Constitution.
And an opportunity for all 22 members of the committee to deliver opening statements.
I am hoping that we can have a hearing that's respectful, that's informative, that's challenging.
The real test will come Tuesday when questioning begins. Jackson is no stranger to the process, though. As a federal judge, this is her 4th time sitting before the committee. Democrats praising her extensive experience on the bench.
If you were confirmed, you would be the first ever federal public defender to sit on the court.
While Republicans look to grill Jackson about her judicial record.
I want to know about your judicial philosophy, because people on the left, the far extreme part of the left, believe that you were the best bet.
And members of the committee will spend the next 2 days questioning the judge, with the final day set for testimony from the American Bar Association, as well as outside witnesses who will speak to the judge's character. We're live in our nation's capital tonight. I'm Chris Wynn. Back to you.
And President Biden is heading to Brussels this week to meet with NATO leaders. Hawaii News Now's White House correspondent John Decker will be traveling with him. Now, John, what is the purpose of this trip?
Well, the purpose is to get the U.S. and our European allies on the same page. We've been on the same page for quite some time since this war in Ukraine began by the Russian military. It's also an opportunity to meet face-to-face with our European and NATO allies. The president will also have a meeting with G7 leaders in Brussels. So a lot on the agenda, also trying to figure out the best approach to helping out the Ukraine military in terms of equipment, military equipment. And I would not be surprised, Ashley, if there's a major announcement on that front coming out of Brussels.
Right, and the president is making a stop in Poland as well. Why was this location added to his trip?
Well, the major reason is because of the humanitarian crisis that exists right now in Ukraine and Eastern Europe. Literally millions of Ukrainians have fled their country because of the war that's going on in their country. And there is a humanitarian crisis, and the president wants to make certain that the U.S., our Eastern European allies that are a part of NATO, like Poland and Romania, can best deal with this crisis, helping out those in need. And on that front, it's pretty clear that the U.S. Will make a commitment, a pretty substantial monetary commitment to helping out the Polish government in particular. Most of those Ukrainians who are fleeing from their homeland are going to Poland, and they're dealing with a lot of issues associated with that.
Right, and you hinted at a couple of things, but what do we expect to come out of this European trip from the president?
Well, overall, I think that the message that the president wants to send, the message that our NATO allies want to send, is that there is complete unity in the West in terms of confronting Russia. They also want to send the message, do not think about going further than where you've gone into NATO territory, because there will be consequences. And in addition to that, Ashley, I would not be surprised to see additional sanctions imposed upon Russia, not only by the U.S., but also by our European allies. That, too, will likely be announced in just a few days.
All right, Hawaii News Now's White House correspondent John Decker, thank you so much for taking the time, John, and we wish you safe travels.
All right, we got to get to that breaking news we mentioned at the top of the show.
That's right. The NTSB is investigating a fatal plane crash on Kauai's Na Pali coast. Now, officials say the aircraft, a single-engine Cessna 172, crashed into the mountainous terrain yesterday, killing both people on board. The plane was taking part in a civil air patrol exercise. Kauai County says there is currently a no-fly zone in place for the Kalalau and Kokee areas. The first Kalalau lookout in Kokee is also closed today because of the multi-agency rescue operation. Now, this is a developing story, and of course, we'll bring you any new details as we get them.
Also in the news, more developing news, another plane crash, this time in China, and more than 130 people feared dead after that plane crashed into a mountainous area in South China. Let's turn things over to Riley Carlson, who has the very latest details on that.
Rescue crews raced to the area where a China Eastern flight is believed to have crashed in the mountains. Smoke and flames were reportedly coming from the crash site. Local media reports say hundreds of firefighters were sent to the scene, but there's been no sign of survivors. The flight was en route from Kunming to Guangzhou and went down near Wuzhou. Information on the plane tracking website Flight Radar 24 stopped transmitting just over an hour into the flight. The plane, a Boeing 737-800, was delivered to China Eastern in 2015 and had been flying more than 6 years. The airline says the cause of the crash is under investigation and expressed deep condolences for those who died. It made its website homepage black and white after the crash. China's air safety record has improved dramatically in recent years thanks to major investments in airplanes and airports and strict safety measures. The last deadly commercial passenger jet crash in China was in 2010. Riley Carlson, CBS News, London.
We're tracking a string of violent crimes that happened on Oahu in just the past few days. We begin in Waikiki, where a 20-year-old man was fatally shot on Saturday night. The suspect, 19-year-old Justice Manumalu Ka'io. He turned himself in yesterday afternoon. Police say around 10 p.m. on Saturday, he got in an argument with a victim on the sidewalk near Lures Street. Things escalated and Ka'io allegedly shot the victim and fled. The victim was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Police say this was not a random act of violence, adding that Ka'io knew the victim. No word yet on what they were arguing about. And you may remember on Friday there was a deadly shooting in the Tantalus area. Police confirmed the suspect, 19-year-old Nainoa Damon, turned himself in later that day. Now he is accused of shooting an 18-year-old on Round Top Drive during an apparent robbery at one of the scenic lookouts. Multiple sources say Damon's mother and stepfather are Honolulu police officers, though HPD has not answered our questions about their employment.
The state health department says the water is safe to drink in all neighborhoods on the Navy's water system. Sammy Solina has the latest on the tainted water crisis.
We're in front of Nimitz Elementary. They're one of the many schools affected by the water crisis. On Friday, the Department of Health said that their water was safe to drink. We checked their website and they said that their custodians have been draining pipes all spring break to make sure that they're ready for students to be there. They also are going to keep water tanks on campus just in case, and they're going to be monitoring for any fumes or smells. Starting today, water distribution services will be halted. For months, the Navy has been providing families with bottled water at sites like the Navy Exchange. In a press release, the Navy also said that residents living in temporary lodging will be emailed that their water is now safe. They will be expected to return to their homes within 2 days. However, some families tell us they won't be trusting their water.
We have been in a hotel since the end of December, and they just stopped our hotel allotments this last week. So we checked out of the hotel. I'm a little bit nervous about that. I'm not feeling super great about it, but we can't do anything about that. But we've been stockpiling the water that they've been providing. I feel a little bit like we weren't told the truth from the beginning, and so for now them to say that it's safe, we're not going to be drinking the water.
Health officials said that they are still investigating cases of illnesses and fumes. Sammy Solina for This Is Now.
Bills on gambling and fireworks in Hawaii are dead at the ledge. They missed the deadline to cross over from either the House or Senate to the other chamber. Among the bills that won't make it this year is one requiring the Department of Hawaiian Homelands to study the impacts of a casino on its land. It passed after one committee hearing, but did not make it to its other two referred committees. Bills to create a members-only casino in Waikiki and a state lottery commission were never scheduled for hearings, and two bills that would have raised firework permit fees and offered rewards for reporting illegal fireworks were also not heard by their final committees and will not pass this year. Let's turn things over now to Howard Dykes, who has an update on those changing arrival numbers.
Everything in parentheses is 2019. On Kauai last Thursday, we got almost 2,900 arrivals. That compared to only about 2,300 arrivals in 2019. Oahu, almost 16,000 arrivals compared to only 13,000 back in 2019. Maui, fewer than 7,000 arrivals both times. It didn't really change that much, but to the extent that it did change, the increase is visible there. And then on the Big Island, not quite 3,800 arrivals, which is up significantly from 3,300 arrivals on the nearest comparable Thursday in the year 2019. Now, those are all domestic arrivals, so now let's look at the ones that aren't domestic. From Japan on Thursday, we got 272 arrivals. That compared to more than 5,000 in 2019. And that's the big thing that is keeping us from record levels right now. From elsewhere, which is to say foreign countries other than Japan, there were almost 800 arrivals on Thursday, but there were 2,500 arrivals in 2019. So that's the big thing that's not back yet, and the big thing that we're waiting to come back.
American Airlines will soon allow more passengers to order alcohol during flights. The airline says it will restart the in-flight sale of beer, wine, and spirits in its main cabin next month. Airlines stopped selling alcohol early in the pandemic to cut back on interactions between flight attendants and passengers. It was extended due to concerns about unruly behavior from passengers. American is the last major U.S. airline to bring back the service. American started giving out alcohol in first class last spring. Service will resume for the main cabin on April 18th, the same day the federal transportation mask mandate is set to expire. Well, spring break is back and bigger than ever, but not without some pandemonium. Carrie Sanders has more.
From busy beaches to packed bars.
We're going to have a blast this weekend.
Thousands are letting loose this spring break, migrating south for some sand, surf, and sun.
You could just tell how it is in the clubs and stuff. And drinks are just flowing.
But along with the fun in the sun and long nights of drinking, it's getting out of control. Part of Miami Beach's famed Ocean Drive was shut down after partiers swarmed the streets. And chaos erupted there early Sunday when a shooting sent 3 people to local hospitals. Security cameras capturing the terrifying scene. The suspect remains at large. Local officials have been on guard for weeks, given last year's mayhem, which saw clashes with police and led to an emergency curfew. Elsewhere in the states, curfews are going into effect. In New Smyrna Beach, police say it's bedlam, with kids crawling on top of buildings, throwing business furniture into the road, and accosting business employees. All of it triggering a strict 60-day curfew to limit the number of people out on the town overnight. And in one Florida panhandle community, authorities even implementing an 8 p.m. curfew for anyone under the age of 21, unless they're with a parent.
There are kids running and screaming and yelling and hiding in the bushes and drinking.
Meanwhile, in Austin, Texas, a suspect is in custody after 4 people were wounded in a shooting early Sunday. It happened in a busy area with several bars. It comes as Austin wraps up the first in-person South by Southwest festival since before the pandemic.
Wild spring break, to say the least.
That video is bananas.
Yeah, it really is. And I forgot South by Southwest was going on. I always wanted to get back there. I've only gotten to go once.
It's like people forgot how they're supposed to act.
Yeah. That's 6th Street area. Watch out.
Yeah.
All right, guys, want to take you live outside, taking a look at the harbor. I'm hearing there's some chances of rain for some of you out there. So let's turn it over to Guy Hoggy with an update on that front that's moving in.
This is that front. It's going to approach Kauai later this afternoon through tonight with with a few more showers. It's going to extend its moisture down the island chain by tomorrow afternoon, and then it's going to linger around for the next couple of days. Now notice most of the rain is of the light variety. If they were heavy, we'd see yellows and oranges. We just don't see that. Fewer showers expected by Thursday and should be relatively dry going into the weekend, although there will likely be a few windward and Mauka showers because we're also expecting stronger winds to pick up when that front drops in. So light winds today. That means a few afternoon clouds, a few afternoon showers, widespread rain not expected. But that cold front's going to drop in tomorrow with scattered showers lingering probably through the better part of Thursday. And look at those winds stepping up to 15 to 25 miles an hour. They will remain breezy all the way through Friday, slightly easing up with drier conditions over the weekend.
Gas prices fell across the state over the weekend, but crude oil kept rising, suggesting higher retail prices are ahead. Honolulu regular, measured by AAA, fell to $4.99 on Sunday before settling at $5 this morning. Our Jolani Martinez has more reaction from businesses on how they're dealing with these skyrocketing prices.
Businesses that rely on gas to operate say the high prices are adding to COVID problems they're still coping with, like labor and supply shortages.
But we can't just wake up like the gas stations can and put up new signs showing what the new prices are and not pass that expense on to our customers. Our customers usually want anywhere between 10 and 30 days notice.
Nick Smallwood, CEO of Courier Corporation of Hawaii, says their gas bills are 30% higher than what they were paying 3 months ago. His warehouse is located in Kalihi, and he says rising costs are making it a challenge to find committed workers.
We've actually ran ads for several positions, and it's taken several weeks just to get a response, let alone someone to come in for an interview and then get hired. And then day 1, day 2, they take that drive and they're less likely to show up on day 3 or day 4.
Although they've had to pass on the costs to their customers, Smallwood says they've been very receptive to the struggle. However, he feels state leaders could take more preventative action.
Start looking ahead 10 and 15 years for things like this that are going to happen and being prepared for them so that the cost doesn't always come down to the taxpayer or the federal government bailing us out with taxpayer dollars.
Georgia's Aviation is also feeling the pain at the pump. They're paying about $9 a gallon for jet fuel. This plane burns about 10 gallons an hour.
When you look at our gas usage and the amount of fuel that we run, we could not absorb the costs. The profit margin on flying is already so low as it is.
The pilot school increased their rates due to consumable costs, one being fuel and simple things like tires, tubes, and batteries.
Because of the demand is so high and the cost, the price is just doubled.
Economist Sumner LaCroix says higher prices are here to stay for a while and encourages the public to plan on paying higher electricity prices.
Some of those higher electricity prices are already baked in, and that it's useful to start planning how people are going to cope with the higher electricity prices. Unplug that air conditioner now.
Jolani Martinez, Hawaii News Now.
Unplug the air conditioner. Yeah. I seriously melt. No thanks. Let's get to what the internet is talking about today. And people are still talking about Batman. I just saw it this weekend. It remains #1 at the box office, but #3 is the theme for this movie. So get this. It has been in the theaters for 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. It just surpassed its $300 million mark at the box office. And it's 3 hours long. And let me tell you, from watching it, it feels like 3 hours.
Yeah, you were not a fan.
I'm not a fan. I was so excited about it. Starts off well. First hour and a half is good. It's like an NCIS or like a almost like the movie Seven, I would say.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah, and it's like clues and the Riddler is giving you these hints, and then it just completely makes a left turn and goes down another road of introducing way too many characters. Really, really diluted plot line. And like I said, Catwoman's rendition barely mentions even being Catwoman. And there's like one, remember Michelle Pfeiffer? Mm-hmm. She had all those great lines. And like, there was no meows. There's no scratch. She was just not the best. Penguin, very good rendition though. Mm-hmm. Totally different take on it. And there wasn't enough of them. So
Okay. I think I'll wait then, based on your review, Jonathan. I'll wait.
wait and fast forward.
Yeah.
Because it is long.
Oh, man.
And Robert Pattinson, I liked him.
Yeah.
I liked the emo take. I did.
Okay.
All right. Your turn.
Yeah, so good news for people who like to dip their McDonald's chicken nuggets and french fries in something with a little more zing than ketchup. So the fast food giant bringing back its Szechuan sauce on March 31st. The condiment includes soy, ginger, vinegar, and garlic, and it's going to be available through the McDonald's app only. So the fan favorite sauce made its debut in 1998 and had 2 brief appearances since then. Customers can get the sauce with their order of McNuggets, or you can buy up to 5 containers on the side.
Huge Rick and Morty fans. There's a whole talking about plot lines.
Yeah.
They were a big part of that.
Yeah. Hawaii's own Marcus Mariota has signed a 2-year deal with the Atlanta Falcons. So the agreement comes in the wake of Matt Ryan's trade to the Indianapolis Colts. Mariota has spent the last 2 seasons backing up Derek Carr with the Las Vegas Raiders.
All right. Big news from the world of entertainment. After more than 30 years, so many DNA tests, fights, and I can't believe that just happened moments. Maury Povich is saying goodbye. Yeah, the long-running talk show host says this season's going to be his last. No word yet on what he will be doing next. But we were just talking. I've never been to a talk show. You've been to a couple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we didn't even know he was still on the air.
Yeah, no, I didn't know. Yeah. I know it's in syndication. It's probably not in as many markets as it used to be when we were kids.
Yeah, was good TV when we were kids, for sure.
Classic.
Well, speaking of shows, tonight is the debut of NBC's new musical competition, American Song Contest. Now, it puts all 50 states and 6 U.S. territories up against each other in the search for the next great song. Mark Barger has a preview.
The long-running Eurovision Song Contest is all about national pride for the countries competing.
Italy is the winner.
For its new counterpart, American Song Contest, it's all about state pride for those taking part.
Iowa has a lot more than just corn and cows.
Kelly Clarkson and Snoop Dogg are hosting the competition, which has one act from every U.S. state and territory.
That's why I feel like this show was so cutting edge, because it engages with every state, so you don't feel left out.
The first 11 of 56 contestants performs live tonight, and no cover songs. It's all original music.
I tell people that if Aretha Franklin and Lenny Kravitz had a baby, it would have been me.
The competition cuts across musical styles, and it's not just solo artists. There's a band from Minnesota called Yam House.
I would say we're excitedly terrified to be playing for the entire country.
They're among the largely unknown acts trying to become known.
Well, I try to stay calm about it, but I think deep down I'm really excited.
But not everyone's unknown. Michael Bolton's representing Connecticut.
It's a great place to spend your time. It's a great place to come home to.
Home providing the heart for Oklahoma's K-pop singer, Alexa.
Oklahoma and America in general has so much to offer in diversity, so I'm just one of the facets, I guess.
All trying to deliver the tune America votes as its next hit song.
I think we're both energized. I'm ready. I love live TV.
Mark Barger, NBC News.
Love live TV and love Kelly Clarkson.
Oh, yeah. Michael Bolton, that kills me.
Yeah, and Jewel. Jewel making an appearance in this show. And for our podcast listeners, the set looks super cool. Like it looks, at least from the promo, it looks like each state is represented sort of like by a cutout stage. It looks very cool. You guys, that's going to do it for This Is Now. We're going to be talking a lot more about that show as the week goes on and introduce you to our contestant from right here in the Aloha State a little later in this week as well. So you saw it. We have a lot of news developing here this afternoon at HNN, so you're going to want to catch back up on everything with Ashley on KHNL at First at 4. Don't want to miss that. Have a good afternoon.
Aloha.